Welcome to Rome for race 3. You were Puffs on pole from Daniel Bogdasarov and Revo. Then it's Awful Catfish starting 4th from Linus Eriksson and Charles Nandez. Ocampo starts 7th from Akari Lopez and UK Wolf. Then it's Romeo LeBeau starting 10th from the Red Devil and Francis Austin. Welsh Club is 13th from Tenali Gabo and Marcus Nelson. Then it's Salas Guys and Knock You. Nicholas Palomino in 18th from Volstad. Baroness Jr., Rossack, and teammate Butler. Then returning for race 3 here in Tokyo, you are Puff on pole from Daniel Bogdasarov. All 5 lights go on. And the Tokyo ePrix is green. Good start there from Puff, covering off the Renault Edams driver, but leaving the inside line. Ready for the 7 of Revo. He's already up into 2nd, coming through turn number 1. He gets alongside and in front of the season 24 champion. Revo leads us here in Tokyo as the Red Devil getting a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. Bogdasarov, who's dropped down to 4th, also getting a time penalty. Linus Eriksson is up into 3rd position. He's really beginning to click with these ERL 02 cars, we think. Coming through turns 4, 5, 6 in the rest of them. And look at how close the field is, heading up the hill. A lunge from Ocampo, that's gone wrong. Sebastian Ocampo and Daniel Bogdasarov both in the wall. The Red Devil hit by the Team Edams Renault driver. The gap out in front now over a second. I think Puff might try and close up to that through strategy and Knock You. He's the only man who started this race on the hards. So he's the man that all the teams will be looking towards in terms of tyre strategy. Ocampo lucky not to have any time penalties. The Red Devil with a stormer of a start on board with the 99 as he makes a lunge. That'll see him up into 5th position, but out in front, Revo leads from Puff and Linus Eriksson. We still haven't had that IndyCar Formula E Championship double before. It's going to be a lot more likely this season, with more Formula E champions running in the IndyCar series. But few of them are actually doing too well. So Linus Eriksson, his performance so far this season, it's very short ways into this 18 race season, but still, this is immaculate. This is some of the greatest rookie sophomore season driving that we've seen in a while. Could that 28 try and take the championship this season? Well, he's going to have to beat the 2 drivers in front of him first. But he is running 2nd in the driver's standings. So Ocampo has dropped down to 6th position and is really struggling with that damage, not as much as Bogdasarov, who's dropped down to 13th. Hernandez looking for the way past the hyperdrive number 76. That was easy. And I think Leclerc's going to follow him through on board with car 16, heading into 130R. He's in front of Sebastian. And Ocampo in that white and blue hyperdrive machine. He's going to need to step it up. Looking through the field as they make their way through the Casio Triangle. Site of some of the most historic moments in the ERL. Revo still leads by 2.5 seconds over Puff. But look at this, the fight for 3rd. 2 drivers who have won both of their championships in Japan. Linus Eriksson won his IndyCar Series championship in Twin Ring Motegi in Season 3 of IndyCar. Meanwhile, Catfish took his championship from Revo back in Season 22. He's the first man to win a championship in the ERL 02s, which is a neat tidbit of information. As we watch them come through the end of the 2nd sector, spoon curve, as Rossack getting a time penalty, a collision with Baroness Jr., both Mercedes drivers with time penalties, and for Bogdasarov really struggling out there. He's outside of the top 15. Meanwhile, Ocampo is struggling to hold on to the top 10. Marcus Nelson takes him down to 11th position, and Remy LeBeau, who really needs some better performances. His first point scored last time out with that podium is Nelson getting a time penalty for causing a collision. Remy LeBeau up into 11th, and Catfish is the man who pulls the trigger and pits first out of the top 5. Well, it's Leclerc, Sebastian Ocampo following the Malaysian driver into the pits, and Remy LeBeau also in. Bogdasarov drives down pit lane. I think he's held up Sebastian, who comes out of the pits on the hards. We do expect a lot of drivers to be using the hard tyres for their second stint. If there is a third stint to this race, everyone's surely going to be going on to the softs. But, you know, round here, track position matters. You're not going to get crazy wreckfests through here. You get some very cool overtakes. But wrecks and wreckfests, like you see in Rome, for example, you don't quite get them over here. In fact, there are a lot of people within the ERL being a little concerned about, you know, just the racing that we've seen in Rome. But they had their discussion. They decided they're going to continue racing at tracks like it, and Revo stays out for a 5th lap on those softs. I think you or Puff might do the same on those mediums, but Linus Eriksson trying to undercut the leaders. Catfish, he was the first man to come into the pits. He's coming through Casio and coming out of it right now, coming through the final turn. He's probably going to be trying to race Eriksson on pit exit, but it's not even a close fight. Eriksson's come out behind Catfish by about 2 seconds there. He's got fresher mediums. The question is, will those mediums make it to the end of the race? I think if someone like Revo's going to be trying to make it to the end, they're going to hope that this man on Hot Q can make 7 laps out of his hard tyres. Because if he does that, yeah, you can do half the race on them. And Revo actually putting some distance between him and Puff. You cable 15 seconds off of these guys. What is going down at Mission Winnow Power Motorsport? Because, my goodness, that 89 car just seems to have these ebbs and flows, and honestly, I feel like that's something he's still got to work on. Revo's come into the pits as here comes Akari Lopez into 4th position, and I think Puff's into the pits as well. He is in the pits. Cable has come into the pits with Akari and Marcus Nelson. Catfish is rounding the final corner. He has gained a lot from pitting early, but not enough to take the lead. I was about to call it. I was about to say Catfish takes the lead, but by 0.3 of a second, he's going to have to get past Revo on track. Luckily, though, the two's got strategy on his side. Revo is out there on the soft compound tyres, so it doesn't matter if his tyres are colder or not. They are just genuinely faster. So he's going to have to make the most of this second stint, because Revo is going to have to run a 3rd. The Red Devil with a fastest first sector of anyone. This is a track where you can defend, but Linus Eriksson sends it down the inside. He's been stuck up the back of that Mission Winnow Power Motorsport number 2 of Catfish, and he's finally gotten past, but we've got yellows into the wall for Marcus Nelson and Tonelli Gabo. And Gabo had a pretty alright outing last time out at his home race before everything just kind of went to hell for everyone. Honestly, luck in the negatives for that man. And for Nelson too, after his championship, might I add. Mercedes is Babinis Jr. coming into the pits after 6 laps on his medium compound tyres, and with Enoch staying out, proves that the one-stop strategy is possible if you didn't pit before. But just the fact that those softs themselves couldn't really do too much is just gonna be a big problem for Revo and for you, Puff. But Revo, he's got a 5-second gap to Linus Eriksson. He's gonna have to grow that quite a bit. We've seen that man blitz the competition before. I mean, his first race win in Rome Season 2 is evident of that, and you know, what could have been his first career victory here in Season 2. Again, just showing that. There goes Lal Leclerc up into 6th position. And you know what? He's got so much more pace than an OQ. Just pulling this out about Remy LeBeau. Pretty good fight back for him and for Sebastian Ocampo as well. You know, misfortunes early on in the race. Remy starting outside of the top 10. And Ocampo being involved in that lap 1 incident. We're on to lap 8, by the way. Here comes Cable! Oh! Into the back of the Red Devil. 5-second time penalty to the 89. Lucky that he didn't just pile him into the wall there. As Remy now getting past an RQ. You don't see those types of wrecks anymore, do you? Down at the Casio Triangle. There was a long period of time where racing here in Tokyo was similar to the type of racing that you'd get in Rome and the type of racing that you used to get in London. But now, London and Tokyo a lot safer, a lot cleaner in terms of wrecks, as here comes the 89 past the 25 and a rear puncture for an OQ. Will that be a full car puncture for the 25 after 8 laps on those hards? Is that just one rear tyre that's gone? It is. He's done 8 laps on that set of hard tyres. Those are the ones that he started this race on. And unfortunately, it is all over for the 25 crew. Davinis Jr. going around the outside of him. Rotak is going to be the next one to come up and see him. That's the Mahindra coming into frame and into the back of him. Damage for Scuttle and Rotak is there? No. Hernandez is in for a second stop. Race leader Revo has come into the pits and re-emerges in this race in 4th position. 2 seconds up on Remy LeBeau. There goes Daniel Bogdasarov past his teammate. And in fact, Remy closer than 2 seconds. He's about a second off the back. And an RQ trundling his way through the Casio Triangle now. Tenali Gabo currently runs last. Just misses the 25. That could have been terrible. At least for Revo, he knows he can make it to the end. This is your championship leader, by the way, in that 7 car, going for his 5th. But Linus Eriksson leads us. Catfish has dropped down to 3rd. It was 4th before Revo came in. And, you know, this is just proof the mediums are just kind of the best tyre for most situations. They've got the tyre life of the hards with the pace of the softs. You can just push those things as much as you need. You are Puff closing up to the back of Linus Eriksson, but look at the state of those softs. The top 2 into the pits. And the top 3 have all decided it's a 2-stop race. The ball is in the 7th court. Revo leads here in Tokyo. The track where 24 seasons ago in Season 2, his 2nd season in the ERL, he made what could have been the biggest statement of all time. He took out his teammate, the reigning world champion. Could have won that race that day, but he was given a 5-second time penalty for effectively imploding the entire Mercedes EQ operation on that day. He's grown from that day as Bogdasarov's taken the fastest lap of the race. He's grown from that driver he used to be. He's gotten 4 championships. I know it's early in the season, but he could be set for his 5th. Remy LeBeau, the reigning champion, defends from the Red Devil. It's not been the greatest title defense for Red Bull Sims Porsche so far, with neither driver so far finishing in the top 10 at the same time as the other, as the Red Devil moves up into 3rd position. Remy LeBeau, though, he's thinking, you know what? Why not? How about a cheeky overtake round the outside? Everybody loves those. But he just can't make the lunge. Those hards are just too ordered. Ericsson has gone into the back of Remy and has given himself a 5-second time penalty. That's a championship contender. Remy LeBeau has come down into the pits. They might be checking that out down at Red Bull Sims. And look at this from Panasonic. Ewa Puff up into 3rd position, trying to make it a 2-3 for Jaguar. We are losing laps in this race here in Japan, though. Lucky not to have had any wrecks. Unlike last time out and even last season's race here. We've been fortunate not to have any full course cautions. And for the Red Devil, losing time on those old hards, and so is UK Ball, might I add, running up in 2nd despite that 5-second time penalty. These guys have been running the one-stop effectively. It's a strategy that you can use. It's just not preferable. Ocampo currently runs in 9th and he's doing the one-stop. And, you know, you can tell he's down to 10th now. He might not even score points. He has to maintain a 2-second gap to Francis Austin now. And as Ewa Puff looks to the outside of his fellow British Isles driver, gets alongside with UK Ball. And still side by side running the final turn. Attack mode for Ewa Puff. But somehow that Power Motorsport 89 still with a few more tricks up its sleeve and maintains 2nd position. He's just doing this to hold up Ewa Puff at this point, I think. This is just teamwork between two drivers who are friends, who have been teammates in the past. And as Ewa Puff is now up into 2nd, if he wants to win this race, he's got to claw back 13 seconds to Revo. I don't think that's quite possible. Revo's 2nd stint on those soft tyres was blindingly quick. There goes Linus Eriksson past the 89. He's currently looking to still have a top 10 finish on the cards as Akari gets past the Red Devil. He's at 28% tyre wear. I think the only man who's going to have a puncture scare at all is this man, Sebastian Ocampo. And he's going to be defending from Francis Austin. Ocampo's teammate Revo has just started the final lap here in Tokyo. He's going for his 2nd win on the season in just 3 races. This is a more classic Revo opening season performances. Here comes Revo's countryman Francis Austin side by side, going through the Casio triangle. You know, back in the day, with the old profile of that chicane, that would have ended both of your races. Thankfully, we've got new profiling as there goes Carlos Sainz to the inside of Sebastian Ocampo. Revo's making his way into Spoon Curve right now. These guys only just making their way through the S's. Lucky not to hit the Toyota Gazoo number 23, who should give Japan's favourite team at least 1 point at their home race. But for the man who drives car number 7, who lost the championship here in season 22, he's gonna go 2 for 3 in season 26. It's Revo who takes victory in Tokyo. Ewa Puff is gonna come through the Casio triangle quite a ways behind, but he will get a brilliant finish with that. And UK Ball just in front of his teammate. He's going to lose time as Akari just absolutely almost sideswiped by the Red Devil. These guys are going to go 2 by 2 to the line, and it's Akari in front. Ocampo lost so many positions on that lap. He's down to 17th with those 9-lap old hard tyres. Can he fend off Tonelli Gabo at the very least? He just managed it by a 1/10 of a second as the rest of the drivers come to the line. And here is your podium. Revo taking victory from Puff and Linus Eriksson. Some of the most recent champions in the ERL on our podium today. Honestly, absolutely brilliant. But as for the rest of your finishes in this Tokyo E3, Catfish was 4th from Charles Hernandez and Lance Leclerc. Then it's UK Ball splitting the two Pinnacle drivers after his time penalty was applied. Lopez is 8th from the Red Devil and Remy LeBeau. Then outside of the top 10 you've got Carlos Sainz, Oscar Folstad, Francis Austin, Nicholas Palomino still searching for some points in this full debut season for the number 93. Babinus Jr. was 15th from Bogdasarov and Sebastian Ocampo. Then it's Gabo, Butler, Rossack, Nelson, and Enoch Yu. In the driver's standings, rather, Revo leads the pack, 16 points up on Linus Eriksson, who's 4 points up on Puff. A few points back, you'll find Arthur Catfish in 4th, and he's 1 point in front of Charles Hernandez. 2 points back is Francis Austin. Then it's Remy LeBeau, the reigning champion. The Red Devil in 8th, Lance Leclerc and UK Ball currently 10th in a 3-way tie with Marcus Nelson and Daniel Bogdasarov. Oscar Folstad is 13th from Akari Lopez, who's tied with Tonelli Gabo. Then it's Carlos Sainz tied with Sebastian Ocampo. And at Babinus Jr., the last of the drivers who have scored points, with the non-scorers after these races being Enoch Yu, Devin Butler, Skasselo Rossack, and Nicholas Palomino in the Constructors' standings heading into the 4th round of the season. DS Hyperdrive lead the pack, but only just in front of Panasonic Jaguar. Then it's MS Emlyn Andretti from Power Motorsport and Toyota Gazoo Racing in the top 5 after their home race. Dragon Racing are currently 4th from Pinnacle Motorsport and Red Bull Sims Porsche. Then it's Team Iran's Renault, Mercedes EQ, and Mahindra Racing, who are still yet to score. We will see you guys next time then when the ERL returns.